past 2 games. How do you think that transition has helped out this defense?
I think it just helped out. That's where I had been my previous 14 years in college coaching has been in the box. Came down. I went up, Notre Dame. But I came down because at the beginning of the year I asked the defensive backs how they feel more comfortable at the time with me down or up, and they said down. So that's how that came about. But they're comfortable now as far as, sideline adjustments and things like that. So decided to go up. It's kind of funny because after the NC State game, I come in and talk to the defensive staff about going up, and some of them were like, yeah, that's a great idea. That same day, Coach Taggart comes up to me and says, hey, I got a question. What you think about going to the box? I said, who you been talking to? He said, I didn't talk to anybody. I said, come on, Coach. And so that was confirmation, you know what I mean? Thinking the same thing, basically. And so last 2 games I've gone up, and it's helped out a lot. I mean, that's where I'm comfortable with. That's where I've been, and you can see everything, from up there.
How's it help having Coach Snyder, the relationship you guys have with him on the field?
That helps also because, like you said, the relationship is already there. We understand one another. He knows when I say something, this is what we're trying to do. He may say, I saw this, Harlon, or what have you. And it's funny because he's normally been a guy that's been on the field. So we just kind of got back into our comfort zones, so to speak, on game day, and obviously it worked out pretty well, at least last week. So we'll see if we keep it going.
It may sound obvious, but you can see everything from up there, correct? I guess what does that do for you as a play caller and seeing the?
Well, it helps out a lot, and that's how I've been used to seeing it over my whole career. I can, like you said, see things. It's like, Coach Taggart used this a little bit. I said, you're right. Kind of like watching film all week. That's how you watch it from that bird's eye view. And so that has helped me out tremendously. And again, that's what I've been doing my whole career.
You guys challenged the players they had a big challenge last week in A.J. Dillon. Impressed the way they responded to that?
Absolutely. They responded extremely well. The guys went out and played hard. We knew they were going to come in and try to be a physical football team, and they're a well-coached football team at that. And our guys stood up to the challenge, and we got another challenge this week. Got another big challenge this week. These guys are going to try to run the football, and our number one goal is to stop the run. So our guys know we got to come out and be ready to play physical football.
They run it differently than Boston College, or is what you do similar and just reacting differently, or do you have to kind of adjust your approach?
They do some things similar to BC, not everything, not as much of it, but we just got to be able to go out and read our keys, play fast, physical, downhill. And if we do that, we'll be fine. So everybody must dominate their gap, and that's what we've been talking about.
Contavious has something like 25 tackles in the last 2 weeks. What have you seen from the last?
He's really turned it on, man. Really happy for him. He's playing well. He's practiced well, and that's translating into games. And so really happy for him. I really like the young man. Has really come a long ways since we've gotten here. Not only as a player, but as a person. He's a good kid and really cares. Very emotional, but he's learning how to control those emotions and turning them into positive football plays.
You mentioned emotions. You've obviously been part of a big-time rivalry in Michigan State. But do you have to talk to the kids about managing their emotions anymore for a game like this?
Absolutely. You definitely do, because you don't want to get so caught up that you get a personal foul or something like that. You still got to be able to play with a controlled rage, so to speak, without doing something that's not smart. I'm not going to use the other word I was going to say, but doing something that's not smart.
Coach, you mentioned keeping this thing as simple as you can, simplifying things as the season's progressed. Do you need to see if you can drop back into more zone concepts at times when you're facing down distances of 3rd and long to get off the field?
And yes, that's what we've tried to do. Our guys got to get used to doing that type of stuff because we are more of a man-matched team. But when we do have zone situations, understanding the down and distance and not jumping on the short things and that's rallying to make that tackle if they throw it down low and short. So, it's something that we're working on and we'll continue to get better at.
You talked about rallying to the ball. It seems like you guys did a much better job of that on Saturday, and it really helped out obviously with A.J. Dillon, big as he is and as strong as he is. Just what changed, because it seemed like that was a big change from the Notre Dame game.
I think keeping it as simple as we did, and we were already a simple defense, but we even broke it down even more. And those guys just were flying around. They were excited. They know what's on the line, and so we want to see more of that and then some this week. guys flying around, making plays, and having fun doing it.
Stanford, with his move from field safety back to corner, he's had picks in 2 last 2 weeks. You talked about kind of what made him, you thought, good for the field safety role. What makes him good as a cornerback?
He's his length, and he's comfortable out there. He's a long guy that's comfortable out there on the edge, and it's what he's done through high school and through his first part of his career here. So you see his comfort level. As soon as he went back out there, even in practice, you saw him like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm back to where I'm used to being, and that was a sacrifice for him to go to the safety for us, and we really appreciated that. But now he's back into his comfort zone, and you see him making plays.
Do you anticipate Florida trying to I don't know, utilize that backup quarterback Emory Jones a little bit more in this game? I think he's played 3 games, so they could play him one more time to maintain his red shirt. Is that something you guys are planning for, possibly seeing more so than other teams have?
We wouldn't be surprised, you know what I mean? So we understand that he's a really a good talent for them, and if he comes in the game, we'll be ready to go. But he's a good football player. He's a good football player, and we'll be ready.
Boston College called I think 3 or 4 different trick plays, and they were prepared for it. You guys were prepared for it every time. I'm sure that's something you worked on, but I guess how pleased were you with the discipline and being able to anticipate, especially because they did it 2 years ago and it didn't go as well?
I got you. Very pleased. We talked about it, and a lot of times if you play on principle or play with great eye control, what we always, you'll be fine. You won't get fooled. It's about just looking at what you're supposed to look at. When you're not looking at the right stuff, that's when it seems like you got food. But then you go back and look at the film and say, oh, I just looked at this guy. He didn't do anything special. He just ran down the field. But because my eyes were taken by some other deception going on in the backfield, I gave up a play. So we really focused on having great eye control, and our guys did a good job. Excuse me.
And being good at that means you're probably doing well when they're just running traditional plays too.
Right, because it's all about a discipline thing. Eye discipline, eye control, and when you do that, you give yourself a chance to make plays and be in the right position.
What kind of boost have young guys like Dennis Briggs, Asante Sandler, Robert Cooper, freshmen, playing in the second half of the season? How's that helped you guys out?
I think it's helped us tremendously because not only for now, but going into the future, as future players for us, making plays on the field, but being leaders off the field also. So those guys have done a great job for us, and we're really pleased with how they're doing.
Is that a balancing act to figure out when to put in a young guy? Because you could put in a lot of pressure, I guess. Like, how do you determine when someone's ready to help?
Well, by practice, and we always say best players play. So if they're out there performing in practice, and they're earning reps, so to speak, then hey, let's go.
He's right there, so I won't ask you too loud. But what was it like having him kind of come in the game last week, Emmett? And I mean, Coach said that he's kind of still finding his way after that knee injury, but it looks like he's playing well.
Man, he looked great. You know, one thing about Emmett, people don't know, or if they don't know, they will know now. He's a sharp football player. He understands not only his position, but where everybody else fits. And when you're like that, you're able to make plays because you know where to be, and as far as your role is, because you know where everybody else is supposed to fit. So you know that you're a piece of the puzzle. You understand where I fit and everything, and understand how they're trying to attack us. He's a sharp football player, man, and he's tough, and he can run and he'll hit you. So he has a bright future, in my opinion.